Okay guys, so we're back with the second foal, day 3, and we're going to see what he does, how he is today. Yesterday we were able to catch him with just a halter, hopefully the same thing today. My goal for him is to just catch him with as little stress as possible. Yesterday it was pretty good. He was pretty relaxed with me catching him. So hopefully the same thing happens today. As long as I can connect with him a little bit and remind him that I'm not as scary as he thinks, then we should be good. So I'm just going to approach him very slowly and try to remind him that we're not just going to run in circles and go crazy the whole time. There is a purpose here. And if I can just remind him that I'm his friend and that yesterday we had a good session and things like that, that would be good. But if not, and if he runs away, then we'll just take our time with it. There's no rush. Now, I'm debating whether or not to rope him, but I think I'm going to try to push through and just put a halter on him, because roping is never helps the catching process. It just helps the lesson to continue, and I don't actually have another horse to train today. So this is the last horse of the day. So because of that, I'll spend a bit more time on haltering him. If you think I'm pushing him to run, that's not really true. I'm trying to get him to stop here. I'm trying to put as little pressure on him as possible, and if he stands still, even less pressure. But the thing is, if he wants to run, I'm not going to stop him running, because it's going to teach him that running doesn't get him away from me. He doesn't gain anything by running. So you can see there, I'm trying to stop him. I'm trying to make him relax here. His friend's on the other side of that fence. That's why he's doing that. I'm trying to get him to think more than react. It's not as easy as I'd like it to be. So guys, I'm going to leave this in here, because if I don't, then when you encounter a horse that's a little bit harder to catch, or a foal that gives you a hard time, you're going to think that it's always easy. And that would be very untrue. There's a lot of days when it's like this, when you spend hours on just trying to catch him. I have to remember that a few days ago, he'd never ever even interacted with someone. And that's why he's like this. The reason I'm even trying to catch him like this right now is because yesterday and the day before, I caught him without much trouble. So the only difference here is the pen has changed. Almost ran straight over the top of me there. This right here is a pretty intense point, because a lot of people would give up and say, okay, he's not letting me catch him. I'm going to call it a day. I'm going to stop. But if you stop halfway through, what you actually just taught him is, if he runs far enough and hard enough, that you'll just give up. So there was the first time he actually turned towards me, and now he ran away anyway, but I want to reward it when he looks at me and stops moving his feet. The thing is, if we push through with this and we end up getting the halter on him, even if it gets dark and I'm home late and everything, it's worth it, because we've made a big achievement. We've pushed through. Okay, that's a bit intense there. Got his little face stuck. But guys, when you get your horse less wild, you fix all these things. You fix all these problems and all these reactions. So there's not really that much I can do to help him if he's being completely crazy. What I can do is continue to work with him, push through the hard days, the days which aren't so nice, and get to better days. So I'm going to leave this all in for you guys, because I want you to see how it really is sometimes. Slowly walk up to him, reach my hand out. Now if he runs away, that's no big deal. We'll just go back to doing circles. There, he's not looking at me, he's moved his butt towards me. So I'll apply a bit more pressure. If he looks at me like that, I'll move away. Okay, so every time he looks at me, he's getting a little bit of a release of pressure. If he moves his butt towards me, then I'll increase the pressure a little bit. I'm just gonna see if I can sneak up here. Put my hand out, remind him of how we connected the other time. Because this is how it starts, is with a good starting point, which for us, for this little foal, he really enjoyed when I would put my hand out, he could smell it. And that's how we started the trust building. So this step of getting to touch his face, yesterday took about 1 minute and today took about 30. But that's okay, guys, that's how it is. Some days it's easy, some days it's not. And if I cut out the hard days, then you're gonna think that all my horses are perfect and I'm the best horse whisperer in the world. So I have to show the hard days also. Good boy. So after doing that, I might move away from him. Okay, now I need to approach him to get the halter on him. Now that I've approached him once, it should be easier to approach him again. I'm not going to take anything for granted. I'm not going to act like he's already trained, because he's not. So if he's giving me a lot of good signs and being brave, then I'm not going to take it for granted. So had I spent this much time working on catching the other horse, there's a small chance he would have let me catch him, but the difference is that the other horse was showing me a lot of disrespect by putting his hind end towards me. So that's a more dangerous situation. That's why I went ahead and roped him. With this little guy, he is scared, but he's not being disrespectful. So there's a big difference, and it's really important to know the difference between those two. If the horse is being disrespectful and he's showing you his hind end the whole time, then it's a big difference and you're going to have a much harder time catching him. If they're being respectful like him, then you're almost going to be better spending that extra time to catch him, because he's not being dangerous, he's just being scared. So I hope that makes sense, and I hope you can see the difference between those two horses. So because he's a little bit tireder than he could be, I'm going to take it a little bit easier on him than I would have if he was full of energy, because what's important to remember is that these are little baby horses and they don't have fully developed lungs, fully developed heart, anything like that. So I want to remember that he's a little baby and that what he did by running away was pretty hard work. So remember working on the leading yesterday, that really paid off. You can see how well he's leading right now. It's really good. He's responding to very light halter pressure. That's what I love about foals. If you teach them something, they've never been taught anything else, so they get really good at it. Good job. Okay, so now guys, just the desensitizing to the rope like we were doing yesterday and the day before. So we're going to go ahead and desensitize him to the stick and string, which is something we did yesterday with him. He's being really brave there. Good boy. go ahead and remind him of the exercise we did yesterday, sending him in a circle. So I'm going to point. There we go. That's great. So as soon as he moves off the right way, I release the pressure. And just continue to smack him a little bit so he can trot. Let's see. Let's go, let's go, let's go. There's a nice little trot. And we'll let him stop right there. That was great. So we'll let him rest, let him think about it. And you've got to remember that these little horses, they are cute and everything, but when their mom kicks them or bites them because they've done something wrong, or another horse kicks or bites them, it's a very intense, powerful force that could actually kill a human. So this little whip, tapping them on the butt and stuff, that's not going to hurt them. They feel it, but it's nothing like when another horse runs into them with their full body and body slams them into the ground, which happens. So this is nothing compared to that. This is just trying to show him exactly what we want him to do. There we go. There we go. Perfect. So the circle part of it's getting tricky for him, but we'll just remind him. There we go. There we go. Just continue to encourage him to go around. If he stops, just ask him to go again. There we go. Come on. There we go. There we go. Now that's good, and I can stop him. Okay, so what can happen is, guys, which has just happened now, so this is a great example, is that the foal or the horse gets too tired to pay attention and to learn. So at this point, guys, you've seen that I've been hitting him a little bit more than I normally would like to, so the best thing I can do is just end the session, come back to it tomorrow, let him rest, let him get his air back, because if I keep pushing and I keep asking him, it's not going to end well, he's not going to respond. I could get frustrated trying to get him to do different things, so the best thing I can do right now is just desensitize him and end the session, because he's too tired, he's not responding, he's not listening. So there's kind of a point in the training where I have to decide, okay, he's not listening anymore, it's time to end it. So what I'll go ahead and do is just desensitize him to the rope here, and then we'll end the session, because what happened was he used up all of his energy running around this pen, and now he doesn't even have enough energy to think properly. He's really tired. So that's very normal with baby horses, and you have to be careful you're not overwhelming them physically or mentally. In this case, we're overwhelming him physically. He's at the point where he's too tired to really pay attention and listen. So anything I would try to teach him now would be pretty much useless. Now there also is another thing that can happen, where is they don't listen to you and they're just ignoring you. And if that happens, then that's a different thing. But in this case, it's very clear that he's just a little tired. So now is a great time to rub on him and let him relax. Remind him that we're not just here to smack him the whole time. He's trying to bite me there. So it's interesting with foals, because they'll be really friendly with you and then they'll just bite you. So you've got to be careful, you got to remember that. A great thing to do is to handle their little mouths, which is kind of counterintuitive, because if they're biting you, you don't want to handle their mouths, because you think they'll bite you more. But if you actually just grab their mouth and rub on it a lot like this, until they kind of take it away voluntarily, like that. If they bring their nose to you, you can do that, especially if they're going to nip you. Now he's not doing it anymore. And right there, he's kind of doing it. So I'll just rub his little mouth, make it a little uncomfortable. and he takes it away, so that's good. I don't want him to be scared, but if he's nipping me, I'm going to handle his mouth like that. Holding on to his ears, getting him desensitized to that, rubbing on his neck, all the important things. What you don't want to do with foals is scratch them, because then they can actually bite you because they're just trying to scratch you back, so that's a different thing as well. Alrighty, so for his third day of training, you can see him yawning there. I think he did pretty well. So we'll come back tomorrow, we'll teach him all those exercises that we couldn't teach him today.